Welcome back to Torn Apart News, the only place on the internet where we tear the news apart bit by bit until we all get a parasite inside of us and we transform into these disgusting things. And I guess the world will be better for it.
What the fuck is this? I don't know.
No! God, please, no! No!
Thank you for being back. Today we're talking about quite a lot of fantastic trailers and we're gonna be starting with something very popular among gamers. It's the Fallout adaptation that is coming out on Amazon Prime on April 11th.
Everyone wants to save the world, they just agree on how.
We finally have a trailer for it after having so many different alternative posters left and right. I'm honestly quite surprised by this. It looks quite fantastic. Visually speaking, you can't really tell where the CGI starts and where the practical effects end. And I'm glad to see that they're focusing on a lot of different characters and telling the story from each and different perspective. Because the thing about the Fallout games is that since you're going in as a blank slate, you can't really understand everyone's perspective sometimes. Just because you have to commit to a specific game style, you start making alliances with different brotherhoods and stuff like that, and you end up missing some parts of the narrative. So I think that this way of adapting this story is the best one, where we get a lot of different characters teaming up for their own adventures. We've got Ella Purnell, who is playing the Vault Dweller. We've got Walton Goggins, of course, who is playing the Ghoul, and his makeup looks absolutely fantastic. And we've got Aaron Moten, who is playing a squire of the Brotherhood of Steel. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a series that's gonna receive quite a lot of attention and critical praise, mostly because it is developed by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, who you might know because they worked together on the series Westworld. But there's not that much else I can say about it, mostly because I've only played one of the Fallout games and I actually didn't enjoy it that much, but I can really see the potential of this. The kind of like vintage look of it all, and the science fiction part of it, and the post-apocalyptic part of it as well. It has such deep lore, and it also has a very interesting tone because it's kind of like pastiche, but it's also very, very gory and scary at times. So I'm very curious to know how they're gonna manage all of these tones together, but I trust Jonathan Nolan, especially when it comes to his writing skills. Let's jump into our next piece of news and talk about Parasyte the Grey. I literally talked about this last week because we got our first look at a poster and now we finally have a trailer, and I have to say that, well, now I'm finally a little bit reassured when it comes to the special effects. This looks very, very good. It's coming out on Netflix on April 5th, and as I said last week, it's going to be developed by Yeon Sang Ho, who you might know because he worked on Hellbound but also Train to Busan. And it's basically going to be about a group of mysterious parasitic creatures that fall from outer space and begin hosting humans, killing them and creating a faction of their own. I'm not really that familiar with the original manga series, but I asked my sister, who is a huge fan of it, and she's really excited about this series, so I am as well at the end of the day. Whether this is faithful to the original or not, it still looks quite good, and we are never bored when it comes to K-series, so let's check it out in a couple of weeks. We finally got a trailer for Inside Out 2 as well. We had a look at the posters and the teaser trailers a couple of weeks and months ago, but now we finally know what this is gonna be about. It kind of looks like a bit of rethreading the lines of the first movie, where we try to separate certain emotions from other ones, but it kind of makes sense, especially as Riley is clearly going into puberty and there are certain emotions that are becoming more more powerful than others, and other emotions that are being suppressed. So narratively speaking, I think this makes sense. I'm just worried a little bit that this is going to be yet another journey of a certain set of emotions trying to find their way back to the control room, which is exactly what we got in the first movie at the end of the day. So we finally have a look at the new emotions themselves. We have anxiety, ennui, embarrassment, and envy. They look quite cool, but I'm gonna keep my expectations managed just because the first one was so incredibly good. But I hope that this is gonna have as many puns as the other one, and we can really see it just by the end of the trailer.
Boy, are we so lucky we ran into you guys! Boy, are we so lucky we ran into you guys!
Wow, those guys are jerks.
The entire voice cast from the first movie is coming back, but not the director. This time around, the movie is going to be directed by Kelsey Mann in a directorial debut, but I'm not really worried about that, mostly because it happens very often when it comes to animated movies, and animated movies more than live action movies are a group effort, so there is not as much pressure and stress put on just one person, aka the director, to create a cohesive film. It's all about working together at the end of the day. Now let's jump into our bonus news. This is where I try to rapid fire as fast as possible as many movie and TV news from the past week so you can go back to your lives.
Finally!
Let's start by talking a new series starring Andrew Scott. We got a look at a couple of posters as well as a trailer. It's called Ripley and it's gonna come out on Netflix on April 4th. It looks quite interesting. We also have an House of the Dragon release date announcement. It's gonna come out in June instead of August. I'm not really sure why they decided to do that, but why not? At the end of the day, it's better sooner than later. They also officially greenlit Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 and 3. It's been confirmed by Netflix. We also have a trailer of a Nicolas Cage movie called Arcadian. It's gonna come out on April 12, and it has a post-apocalyptic setting. It's also a creature horror movie, and it seems really cool, and I really want to check it out. And we also have a trailer and a couple of posters for the movie Sting, which is coming out once again on April 12. It kind of reminds me of the French movie Vermine, which came out last year, and it seems to be about a giant spider killing quite a lot of people, but tone-wise it seems to be almost like a black comedy horror movie instead of a straight-on terrifying adventure. We also have a trailer for a new A24 production that is coming out in July. It's called Sing Sing, and it is based on the real-life rehabilitation through the arts program at the Sing Sing Maximum Security Prison, and it's starring Coleman Domingo. It seems quite cool. We have also release date for Ty West's Maxxxine, and it's July the 5th. We also have a trailer for the new Dreamworks project, which is called Wild Robot. It's gonna come out on September 20. This looks fantastic. It's gonna be directed by Chris Sanders, and these are the kind of original projects that I really wanna endorse and protect as much as possible. This is also gonna be the final film to be animated entirely in-house at Dreamworks. I don't really understand why, but basically they're gonna be shifting away from producing films in-house to relying more heavily on outside studios after 2024. This is kind of weird, especially since Dreamworks is an animation production company, so I really don't understand what the purpose of this is. Maybe they're trying to lower their costs because they haven't had as many successes as Disney, for example. I don't really know at the end of the day. I'm gonna let you know if I found out in the next few weeks. We also have another trailer for a new rom-com that is gonna come out on Prime Video on May 2nd, and it's called The Idea of You. It's starring Anne Hathaway, and it's basically like a classic bourgeois rom-com about rich people finding each other. I mean, the main girl is literally running a gallery and she sells art for a living, and the white boy is a famous singer. These are not the kind of rom-coms I'm interested in. This looks so incredibly cliche. I'm gonna avoid it like the pest. But anyways, let's head into my favorite segment of the week, which is called And for Something Weird. This is where I talk about something weird that happened within the movie and TV industry last week, and I want to show you a clip, and it's related to film theory, game theory, style theory, and food theory. I'm not gonna tell you more. I'm just gonna show you this weird clip, and I'm gonna let you go down the rabbit hole of finding out what this is all about.
This follows the similar mysterious death.
But anyways, thank you for being here. Don't forget to tune in next week on Monday for more movie news. I'm Patrick, and this is Torn Apart News.
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show.
Da 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 da.